let's have a power sesh on cost plus pricing. So this is a type of pricing strategy that you need to know. So cost plus pricing is when you calculate the total cost of the product you're selling and then you multiply it by a number known as the markup. And that markup is the profit you expect to receive from the product. The way to calculate it, so step one, you calculate the total costs of making one product. Remember, total costs is variable costs plus fixed costs. So if you have an example, your fixed costs are £6,000, your variable costs are £4,000, 6,000 plus 4,000 is 10,000, so your total costs are 10,000. And your total output, so the total units, the total amount of things that you make is 1,000, so you make 1,000 things or units. And what you need to do is you take the total costs and divide it by how many units you make. So total costs divided by how many units, in this case 10,000 quid, divided by 1,000 comes to £10. That's £10 per unit. So the total cost per unit is £10. And how you apply the markup is step two, you will just work out what your markup is. So if you want to make a 50% profit from this product, then you will apply a markup of 50%. So simply take the total cost, the 10 quid, and times it by 1.5 because it's 50%, and that will come to the price that you have decided for your product to be £15. This whole section I see as possibly a 5-mark question, and it'll be made slightly more complicated because they will probably give you not the variable costs, but the variable cost per unit. And I'm going to slip in another video, variable cost per unit on cost plus pricing for you to check out, so you know how to do that. If you do, cool. So the pros, why would you use cost plus pricing? 3 good reasons. So number one, well, it helps ensure your costs, your total costs, are covered. So therefore, it guarantees a profit. In this case, the profit is 50% of the total costs. That's a 50% markup. Also, it's a really simple way to work out your price. It's simpler than doing price skimming. It's simpler than doing price penetration. It's just simply how much does it cost times it by your markup. And number 3, in the case of business to business transactions, so sometimes firms, businesses, sell to other businesses. It's not always about a business selling to me and you, the consumers. And in the case of business to business, it's a very useful tactic so you can justify your price to your customer. So by having cost plus pricing and you can show them this working out, you can say this is what the price is because I need to make a profit and this is how much it costs me. And this might help you when you are negotiating the price that you want to sell at. On the other side, the cons, the disadvantages of using cost plus pricing, well, it takes no account of the demand for the product. Is there any demand for this product when you charge 15 quid for it? There might be none because it might just come out at a way too high a price, or it might come out at a way too low a price. Other side, number 2, takes no account of rivals' prices. You might have just worked out it costs me 10 quid to make the product, to make one thing, I'm going to times it by 50%, so I'm going to charge 15 quid, but you might realise that all your rivals are charging 11 quid for it. And if they're charging less than you, well, you're not going to have many sales because you're charging way over what the market price is. And so therefore cost plus pricing takes no account of what your rivals, your competitors are doing. And number 3, a big point. So it encourages inefficient operations departments by using cost plus pricing. It's an argument because if you're just working out your total costs and you're timesing it by a markup, well, that's not forcing your operations department, your manufacturing of the business, to actually bring down the total cost because they're not incentivized to bring it down. So by using cost plus pricing, they're just saying, well, whatever it came to, you just times it by 50%, the markup. So it becomes inefficient for your operations. Evaluation. Number 1 is do not use this in a competitive market. The reason why you should not use cost plus pricing in a competitive market is because it's very likely if you use it, it's a competitive market, so you'll get undercut. So your rivals will charge a lower price than you. And if your rivals, your competitors, charge a lower price than you, then you're going to have less sales. And if you have less sales, it's likely you have less revenue and therefore less market share. Number 2, point to note for evaluation is that it's very common to use cost plus pricing in the manufacturing sector. so in the secondary sector. The reason why is because I guess lots of it is business to business in the manufacturing sector, because they are producing a good and selling that good to a tertiary sector outlet. So an outlet or a shop, a retail shop, for example. And if they're doing that, well, they probably just want to come to a simple method of working it out. They want to use it to justify, to negotiate their price to retail outlets, to shops basically. And they want to ensure that they've made this good and that they're actually going to get a profit off of that. So they want to have a markup and they want to know what it is. And on the other case, maybe they don't care about the demand because it's not up to them. They're just selling it to the shop. It's the shop's responsibility that the demand exists. So maybe they don't care so much about that. And likewise, if all your rivals that are other manufacturing firms are doing it, then it's not a problem, number 2. But nevertheless, number 3 is still important, because if you use cost plus pricing, it's likely to make your operations department more inefficient, and therefore you're not bringing down the total cost per unit. And that effectively to you, even if you're a manufacturing firm, is profit by bringing that cost down. So cost plus pricing, good luck with it. Bang!